NASA is the biggest Illuminati space agency that names all its flights after mythological gods and is compiled of 3 layers. One is for the public, the other is low-level secretive information, and lastly are the black covert operations. The black covert operations are the UFO activities, mining for helium-3 on the moon, which is used for nuclear fusion for interstellar space travel. Other projects include colonization projects, mining for new metals, and the Saturn moon landings. Everyone should know by now that the first moon landings were blotted out to hide the artifacts left behind from our past visits to the moon. Some were even shot in the studio. The later moon landings were also blotted out, but this time to hide the activities from our advanced moon mining operations and colonization projects. They have now publicly announced that they are selling blocks of land on the moon. I wonder which side of the moon. NASA deliberately lies to the public and fakes its pictures, videos, and delivers false, misleading information about space and its flights. NASA also mysteriously gives out so-called secretive documents and exclusive video that somehow was leaked out and find its way back to conspiracy theorists like who always likes to be interviewed with a sun in the background. Most of the UFOs are man-made. They have sophisticated cloaking devices that make them appear and disappear. We have redeveloped very advanced technologies that are a type of anti-gravity device and craft. Some have trans-dimensional capabilities.
But Edgar Fouché's credentials as an Air Force avionics specialist do qualify him with the exact sort of background to have been assigned to Area 51. There are rumors that the Aurora project is responsible for many UFO sightings in the vicinity of Area 51. Ball-shaped craft and strange hovering lights. There are those who believe that Aurora has produced a revolutionary breakthrough in advanced technology.
There are other UFO sightings which come from other astral planes or dimensions. They are not alien in the sense they come from outer space of this third dimension. They are humans occupying different wavelength space. Holographic universe, it's all illusion 4. Did NASA fake comet imagery? There is sufficient evidence to suggest that NASA has deliberately tampered with satellite imagery, depicting a comet changing its flight path after interacting with the Sun on February the 18th, 2002. It was called Comet Neat. In fact, NASA has many dark secrets. All the photos you see of brightly colored universes, space and stars are nothing but fakes. Those images are made up from software program as simulations of what those dark images taken from telescopes would look like. They are an artist's impression. The photos are dark and taken from early radio telescopes. This is an infrared photo of a galaxy called the Sombrero Galaxy, showing its heat envelope. Even with space, the Voyager taking photos from space, it is still all simulated of what the universe may look like. The Sun and stars cannot be viewed from outer space or free space. Only the planets and moons can be viewed. This is because it needs gross matter to be involved. In other words, it needs the Earth, the atmosphere, or the surface of the moon to make the light visible. Therefore, there are no light years, which means that when they say the stars or galaxy are 6 million light years away, that's false. The stars could be closer than you think. All the theories collapse when you can't see stars in space. The three-dimensional plane is just an illusion of electrons, protons and neutrons buzzing around at breakneck speed, creating the illusion of matter, time and space. Scientists can't understand why subatomic particles can communicate instantly with each other over staggering distances. This is because they're thinking in terms of space, but there is no space involved. Movie after movie, they brainwash us on what space looks like. Aliens, movies, hundreds of them. UFOs, why? Think. To give us a programmed false reality and to steal our true power of whom we are. Zeitgeist, the movie, did a terrific job in the religion department, telling you about those allegories in the Bible. But they did not, however, tell you about these subliminals in the writings. What they also did in the production is make the Illuminati look like nothing more than silly, stupid sun worshippers. They are far from stupid. Sun worshipping was fed to the masses and low level to medium occultists and elite. The bloodlines knew a lot more about the sun than it rises and sunsets, night fights with day and all that mythological garbage. As they're dumbing the people in today's society, they were doing the same thing back then as well. The bloodlines knew the sun cannot be seen from space. This is why they called it the Black Sun. The Black Sun has many more secrets. Hitler himself was fascinated with the Black Sun. One of these secrets is that the sun itself is hollow and only has a surface. The sun does not burn or combust, and there is no fusion in the sun. The only fusion is in the flares themselves. No one knows exactly how the sun works. But remember, nuclear fission is law. It's a religion. Believe. You are getting sleepy. 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 Why all this misleading lies? To program us to think that everything works on destruction and the fear factor of destruction. So what is the sun? The sun is a converter. When it hits the Earth's atmosphere, we feel the heat and see it. The sun is a veil and a gateway to another dimension. Its source is from another dimension. The sunspots let you see inside. It's dark and hollow. This is known by many scientists around the world. It's all coming out now. NASA is so full of disinformation. Another one of their lies are about comets. Check the links to more information on the website holographicdisclosure.com about the sun, the electric comet, and more. More fear porn movie after movie about comets hitting the Earth or coming close and causing havoc and devastation. We live in an electrical universe. Every planet, the sun and moon are all connected and work in a mathematical harmony with each other, which affects us. This is why everything is based on a form of astrology and numerology. However, the numerological and astrological forms commonly used are not accurate, but are introduced into the agenda as a smokescreen and front. The mythology references given by the early bloodlines related to the planets like Saturn and Mercury have many references, some which are related to the financial markets and the sacrifice of the newborn into slavery. But this is what really the universe is all about. Please always remember this famous line. It's written in the stars. This has a hidden meaning. The planets, galaxies, comets, black matter, suns and stars are hardware that runs the electric universe and gives us the illusion of a simulated life. It also controls the atoms which pop in and out of existence to form the 3D holographic experience. We are the co-creators of our reality, using thought as the software through the hardware of the electric universe. The black matter we see in space between the planets is very much alive. that it is the highest form of vibration known, the vibrations of thought. Every thought is stored in the ether. No thought originates in our mind. The ether is a cosmic external hard drive. Remember, physical mass does not move, only the information of the swirling mass of atoms that make it what it is. Now, let us put some of the pieces together from the earlier series. DNA tape has letters and a language of sacred geometry built in to make what we are seeing believable. It's a crystalline structure and a receiver, transmitter, and amplifier of frequencies or light. This is what plugs us into the matrix and plugs everything and everyone around us. We are all connected to each other, including every animal and every living creature. This is where the subconscious mind is located in the DNA. There is no such thing as junk DNA. The crystal brain, the liquid crystal prism of our brain, where the 3D light show takes place. The pineal gland, which is literally an eyeball which has a lens for focusing light, it is hollow and has color receptors inside, and like a cell phone, it has an inbuilt wireless transmitter. The waves form universe frequencies, light, sound, vibrations, harmonics, and sacred geometry. Getting closer. We are living in a holographic, simulated, virtual reality game. Except this game has been taken over and rigged. A false reality inserted, conflicting with the anomalies of the original balanced mathematical harmonious progressions. Still not convinced we're living holographic simulated reality? Have you ever found this strange, that a computer chip installed into your brain or body can control feelings, movements, and thoughts? Or a chip plugged into flesh and blood actually works? Or a new interface chip in your brain that connects you to the cyber world? What about now they can download your memories, or they can upload new languages or new skills directly in your brain, just like in the movie The Matrix? In the Holographic Universe 4, I dropped a little hint about the fact that the computer is made out of silicon and we're made out of carbon. It is in the relationship of silicon and carbon. Sacred geometry is the mathematical wizardry that holds this conjured up reality intact. Do you still think the universe was just a random event? The universe is a harmony of mathematical precision. The Big Bang Theory, or Big Fuck Theory, is one big sexual union of atoms reproducing themselves endlessly. From the 1940s, genetic experiments were performed trying to perfect man-made ETs in the United States and Australia. These pseudo-ETs, programmed life forms, were the state-of-the-art in appearance. There already are several generations of these life forms. There are also smaller subset groups who are privately funded by elite families. These rogue groups of fully operational devices that look like UFOs have created artificial life forms that look like extraterrestrials, have been going around simulating contact events called abductions. These so-called alien abductions are nothing more than staged events designed to make the participants think they were abducted by aliens. The unwilling participants are also mind-controlled to further cement the alien agenda. They are then released, and before you know it, the stories are running rampant on how they were abducted by UFOs and aliens. By this stage, the general public have already had their share of fear porn about aliens and UFOs through the Zionist-run media. Remember this PR stunt for the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still, when they told the American public aliens had landed and whipped the unsuspecting public into a frenzy? Then they claimed if it was to see if the public was ready for disclosure. Repeat the words after me: bullshit. Then they engaged in the mutilation of cattle for more of the fear factor to take hold on the already subculture of ufologists worldwide, the pop media and the science fiction buffs and others, because that's how they seed the consciousness with fear. Other mind control victims are put in positions like UFO researchers and so on. Top all this with Area 51 disinformation, hoax photos, and alien autopsies. So, there you have it. Then there's an even smaller number who understand that the strings being pulled behind the scenes are from a transnational, fascist-orientated group, not unlike the fools that were behind the emergence of Hitler. What they couldn't do overtly during the Third Reich, they have done covertly and through Operation Paperclip. We brought them into the United States and seeded the aerospace industry and the CIA. Millions of gullible, desperate people now believing aliens are coming to rescue them from Andromeda and other star constellations, and other groups thinking God knows what else. Just go onto YouTube and see the 98% of disinformation being tossed around. The real disclosure they are keeping from us are about human beings occupying different frequencies of space, who are probably benevolent, trying to warn us about the Illuminati cabal. The disclosure list is actually long and endless about what they're hiding from the general public. Reptilians were discussed in Holographic Disclosure 5, but there is no doubt the existence of reptilian-looking programmed lifeforms brought to life through genetic experimentations. Let's get one thing very clear about these lifeforms. They can only occupy one part of space. This is because they are a golem lifeform, which has no connection to the Earth and have no grid of their own. In other words, basically, they have no souls and no bioplasmatic body attached to the silver cord, therefore occupying the one space. How presidents and people of importance are controlled. President Obama has his Zionist handlers.
David Axelrod, Obama's Jewish handlers, Betty Lou Saltzman, Abner Mikva, Penny Pritzker, Lester Crown, and Valerie Jarrett finally got their man into the White House.
If mind control, threats, and bribery were not enough, black magic is also added to the mix. Washington's design affects the president and key officials in a subliminal manner. Those triangles and designs are sacred geometry codes that affect the matrix of reality. Through a secret ritual by a certain secret society throughout the world, the members are asked to pick a person in a position of power in their country. The member is then asked to stimulate their psychic consciousness, take positive breaths, and then visualize the leader they have chosen sitting in the center of a pyramid of light. They then repeat the sound Om while continuing to breathe until they feel they are within this person's body, being part of his or her whole consciousness. This is the controlling of another person's consciousness, which is strictly against universal law, which has a devastating after effect to the member if used in a negative, destructive way. This is why the elite cabal in very high levels always get someone else to do their dirty work, so the karma energy effect does not come back on them. The fall guy puppet in power gets all the negativity effect from the hatred focused on him. All these people in power always end up manically depressed towards the end of their lives. Russia has now brought this ritual to new heights in which they can do the same thing using high technology to take over someone's consciousness completely. This is a branch in the science of energetics. Materialistic scientists still cannot comprehend Soviet energetics. In fact, materialistic scientists still do not even know what a mind actually is, what a dead separated mind is, or what a mind and body linked living system really is. the science of living biological systems where a mind is linked to a living body. This branch is called bioenergetics, the science of the mind and mental phenomena, which is called psych-energetics. The West still thinks that the human mind is just some electron wiggles in the brain and that we are like a giant non-living computer. Western science, being so materialistic, has not yet comprehended the most important thing about mind, that is, that the mind and mental things exist only in time, but not in 3D space. Hence, the mind is a totally electromagnetic system, but it is comprised of only non-observable, time-polarized photon operations. Without getting into detail about photons, they've now discovered how you could possibly couple that mind to a biological, 3-space material body. That is why the dendrite cells of the body will have so many endings and continual and incredible voltage spikes. In looking at the entire set of spikes and spiking, you're looking at the coupling mechanism that couples the mind to the body in action. That set of spikings is what links or couples coherently the living temporal mind to the living biological body. This coupling mind to body is pretty freaky. Makes you think of the scenes from Avatar or The Matrix. Could we be a conscious being plugged into this 3D matrix experiencing this reality? Are there many conscious beings plugged into each biological human body? Or is it just one conscious being experiencing all of the realities through all of the bodies at the same time? Could this be the oneness they're talking about? And when we die, could this mean going back to oneness? We will explore this in an upcoming video called Death and Beyond. New energy scientist Tom Bearden stumbled onto a portion of this Soviet energetic work in his 2005 book, Oblivion. Did you know every new amazing technology that's ever been developed, they first think of how to use it against humanity, first before anything else? What a sad bunch we are. The high-level elite knows about karma, cause and effect, and you'll find that they always do something good like charity funds, save the children organizations and so on. This is to counterbalance their evil deeds, positive and negative. Remember, we live in a duality universe. The Matrix software runs on dual reality. If the elite do not counterbalance, then they too will be consumed by their own negativity. The controlled truthers. We will see why the leading conspiracy theorists give us great information, then suddenly put us shit in the punch bowl or the dead fly in the soup of information. One big duck soup of information pointing the half-awakened truthers in the wrong direction. Most of the conspiracy truthers all start out with wanting to do one thing. That one thing is to try and wake up the sheeple. Of course, there are those who undeniably want to make money out of conspiracy, and there are those who are paid disinfo agents. The real truthers start by reporting the truth and writing about what they've discovered. Usually, these people start off with a small following, a small subscriber base. These truthers are generally left alone and not bothered. But once they start getting more noticed and gathering a larger audience and start to have an influence, they are now on the radar. Then before you know it, the shit is dropped into the punch bowl, spoiling the rest of the punch. This is like blowing a smokescreen of lies into the truth and mixing up the message to point the half-awakened public in the wrong direction. Not all truthers operate in the same way. Some of them censor real news, giving you the propaganda version of the news to stir and feel among its readers. Some, like gurus for example, operate on the mythological aspects of some subjects. It's not necessarily lying, but it's mainly smokescreen garbage, low occult knowledge.
So, I mean, I've had offers to go along with certain things where I'd be heavily financed, guaranteed best-selling books and so on, if I would just go along with the usual conspiracy stuff and bring in the alien agenda at the end, and I've refused it.
There are also thousands of paid trolls out there monitoring YouTube and or related internet media to give false information. They try and destroy any credible information. Also in use are psychological operations. But it's not just limited to governments. Corporations do the same thing through PR firms. These trolls are heavily financed to set up disinformation websites and videos, especially on the alien agenda. Another disinfo tactic is to pose as Christians and make so-called videos on the leading conspiracy researchers, but what they do so cleverly is point out the real truth of what's being said and claim it as disinformation. On top of that, they make up lists on a blog and add just about everyone on the list as shills, except themselves, of course. If you're truly awake, you'll know who they are by now. Some of them are more obvious than others. Once you have the all-seeing eye operational and awareness levels high, you can watch all these gurus and take in very good information for each one of them, as they all have something unique to bring to the table. Only when you claim your senses back will the all-seeing eye be your guide. The truth vibrates in harmony.